Tikshitpata from Total. So, you're both Global Impact Accelerator participants. That's a hard word. Yeah, so GIA from now on. So it's a program created in collaboration with Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Finland and other multiple partners globally. And the purpose is to support impact startups and showcase the exciting business opportunities in emerging markets.
That's
Yeah, so why did you decide to participate in GEI?
One of the things that I think if you've heard Al Gore speak yesterday, he talked about the sustainable revolution. And I think we are the flag bearers of sustainable revolution because anything that we do in our economies, where things are different to what you have in Finland or Europe, people are still living under poverty, people do not have access to finance, people do not have access to transportation, access to better healthcare. So all the opportunities are there. And the things that we do have had a direct impact into the lives of these kind of people. And therefore it was very appropriate to get to this platform, learn a lot from the global leaders, meet like-minded people like them, and take it forward and possibly leapfrog into what we are doing right now. So that was the main reason why we are here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think from our team perspective, why we decided to participate in the GIA is, one, we're a for-profit but impact company, and bringing like-minded individuals together, it's not only a competition where you're trying to win and get noticed, but it's actually to really learn from one another and to hopefully collaborate together. So it really was a no-brainer. And of course, Helsinki's awesome. Hashtag fan for brag
for Finland.
Brag for Finland. Sorry, well, I'm a fan of Finland. That's why I'm hashtag fan.
So what does the program include? Like, what are the main things you have done?
I think the first thing is that to soak into a lot of learning. When we come here, we get into a boot camp. And there, we get different perspectives of different things that have been done by our peers. We have workshops that actually enable us to refine how we do on our pitches, to how we can improve our business plan, how we see that perspective and how we unfold these things. So it's been a package. It's been a tightly packed package, I think, which has allowed us to open our minds and maybe get better at what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a blend between education, discussion, teaching, mentoring, both from one another to one another and from experts. So it was a good blend. It was definitely very packed, so we're quite tired and I can't wait for a drink later. But yeah.
Yeah, are there some like especially cool things that you have done in the program that you will remember?
What was the coolest for you? I think RP was pretty cool.
Yeah,
very entertaining.
Exactly.
We had an expert from industry come talk to us. RP, he runs a company called Funzi.mobi. He's worked with a whole number of big names from Apple, etc. And he was just very entertaining, and it just reminded us to have a mission and stick to your mission and keep focused. That to me was my highlights.
The stories, the build-up stories around
and and to remember that you have a mission and you have your own story to tell and never forget that. That was pretty good reminder.
So, Total and Empty Trips. Could you give a quick summaries about your startups?
So, Total is a ride-sharing platform in Kathmandu. We've started for last 9 months, and we share rides on motorcycles. I was talking about this in the pitch. Kathmandu, my city, the capital city of Nepal, is 5 times in population as Helsinki. And every one out of 5 people own a motorcycle, but the transportation system is broken down. So amongst that chaos, we have a lot of motorcyclists who could actually be utilized to give rides to people for a point-to-point convenient transportation in a city that's congested. But at the same time, Nepal has a very, very high level of unemployment. And there are people who are leaving the country to work abroad in the Middle East and Malaysia and Korea. So we want to retain them and create jobs for that. So we've created almost 5,000 jobs. And people can make a income of up to $20 a day in a country where most of the people live at less than $2.
That's amazing.
That's what we do.
He is a rock star. He's doing some really cool stuff.
I hope we can continue, and thank you very much.
So Empty Trips is a cargo transport marketplace, so I don't really help the consumer directly and more indirectly. Cargo transport is actually the largest contributor to carbon emissions globally, and by 2050 they estimate that the cargo industry will be emitting about 71 times the weight of Manhattan in carbon. So
Nice.
that is a significant amount. So by better matching cargo to transport on a truck, train or plane, I reduce the transport cost, which helps competitiveness in Africa, but also it reduces the carbon emissions. So I'm a very corporate orientated, I'm a little more boring and more strategic, but also trying to do some good stuff with smart technologies.
So how did you become interested in entrepreneurship overall?
And if it's a curse.
I mean, for me, I never grew up to become an entrepreneur. I possibly didn't even know what entrepreneur was, or even if the word existed. I've been trained as a telecom engineer, and I worked for a telecom company and then worked for a bank. But when you work for a corporate sector, what I felt was you cannot express yourself the way you can, So for me, I think I faced that restriction in expressing myself because the corporate structure does not allow you to move left and right from the road and the path that you take. So for me, I think it's a way to express myself, just like a musician and an artist or a painter. So it's like painting in a plain canvas, and the product that we make, the app that we create, and the service that we deliver is possibly the expression that I have to the world and to my people. I think that's what entrepreneurship is all about for me.
Very profound. Very cool. I think for me, I actually wrote a blog recently where I make an analogy between entrepreneurship and wolf packs. Where when you're in a corporate, you actually may be part of the sheep flock. You follow the norm. There's nothing wrong. It's safe. It's systematic. But then there was this glamorous word there's floating around, and it's like this mysterious wolf pack. And maybe I'm not tough enough to be a wolf just yet, but is there something about it that attracted me? And also there's a big opportunity that we're trying to address that does good, has impact, more than maybe you're 8 to 5, but then there's nothing wrong with having an 8 to 5.
What was your biggest challenge in becoming an entrepreneur?
Sure, I need to think about this, and there's a daily struggle.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that you have a challenge and then you overcome that challenge and then you can have a relaxed life. Entrepreneurship never happens that way.
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurs are these rare breed of people the wolves that struggle every day to face a challenge. They overcome it, but next morning when you wake up, you prepare yourself for a greater challenge. I mean, if you ask the same question to Mark Zuckerberg or Larry Page, I'm sure they also face the challenges in their level, and the kind of challenges they might face is much greater than what we face right now. So as we grow big, I'm sure we're going to face more challenges.
Yeah.
But the difference is that when we wake up every morning and look into the mirror, we're set for that challenge. It's much like a racing driver or an athlete for that matter.
You have to pump yourself up. You really do, because your lows are lonely, but your highs are really high, and they feed you for the next few days. And I think that makes you hungry for the next challenge.
Okay, so if you could give some tips to people who are considering entrepreneurship as their job, and some tips and tricks learned.
So one, you really need to learn how to persevere. So be sure that you have grit, and nothing's going to come easy whatsoever. But more practically, just be prepared. Do your research, do your modeling, know what you're asking for from yourself, from your team, from investors. Have every single model you can possibly think of. Obviously, don't overcook the models, but be ready. Know that there's a very vast economy of ideas, and there's a very limited currency of execution. And knowing that and being focused and clear, and you don't need to have all the skills, but you definitely need to be prepared what you can control, which is the content, the model, the concept, all those details you can control. The rest may be up to fate.
Yeah.
But then again, the science of being lucky, there's a whole different topic there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it's like Benji said. It's more of a passion and the perseverance. But one of the most important things is that an entrepreneur carves a path to a destiny that he or she does not know where they are going to reach, and it's an iterative process. You might start saying that I'm going to do this, but it does not happen the way you think where you are going to go. You need to. It's an iterative process. You always need to find ways, and the way that you think you're going to get there is possibly not the way that you take in your life. So passion, perseverance, and hard work play a very important role. You fall down many times, you feel like giving up, but you stand up every time. So it's all about it's perseverance. It's not as easy as people think. Like I said, it's a daily struggle, daily challenge, social, economical challenge. Family, society, everything. So you have to encounter everything and just move forward.
And never underestimate someone that you meet, because network is very important when you're an entrepreneur. To get help when you need it, to get support when you need it. Sometimes the funding, hopefully, if you have a rich uncle or so. I unfortunately didn't. But the network's very important, and every person that crosses your path can play a very pivotal role, even if it's just to crystallize your idea, to help you pivot if you need to. It's critical.
Okay, can you describe what's a typical day in Total or Empty Trips? What's your normal day looks like?
I go to work early in the mornings, so I spend almost 12 hours. My job every day is to set a vision for the team, because it's very important that everyone believes in the vision. Everyone is equally passionate. Everyone perseveres the same amount that you do. So a lot of my work involves in talking to my team, not about just how we are doing it, but as to why we are doing it and why is it important. What is the mission of the team? Because at certain time, my colleagues could be fatigued out. I might be fatigued out. I have a lot of pains and challenges, but I cannot show it to my team and people. So communicating to them day in, day out, and pushing all of us forward on a mission is what actually takes me every day, and that's how my day unfolds at Tutu.
Can I come work for you?
Yeah, sure.
No, but that's very true. I think the typical day is also getting up really early. I have a very bad habit of not sleeping well. It's maybe because I'm hungry and I'm passionate about what I do, but it's trying to get to the office, being the leader, being the front of the company with clients, very strategic clients all the time, making sure that I know what's happening in the architecture developments in the back end, what's happening with the brand, the positioning, the messaging. So you wear different hats. Some of them don't fit you or suit you, but you have to make it work. So there's not a typical day, and sometimes it's putting out fires, and sometimes it's smooth sailing. So it really is never a typical day.
Yeah.
So
Slush, how do you feel about being here in Slush?
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So fortunate. Helsinki's amazing. The people have been wonderful. The hosting has been fantastic. I don't think we've gone hungry. Maybe yesterday a little bit because we couldn't get food. But it's been really amazing. The vibe.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the GIA team, Elena and our crew.
Yeah.
The amount of care that they have taken, and I was talking to them yesterday that having traveled few places, but with the care that we've received, we felt home away from home. And the kind of help that they have extended towards us has been amazing. Apart from the show, that's the highlight of GIA program and Slush.
Can you name three adjectives to describe that atmosphere here in Slush?
Okay, 3. It's mind-blowing, mind-blowing, mind-blowing.
Sure, yeah. Power, energy, creativity.
Sounds great. How do you see Slush important and why?
I think there's a role that entrepreneurs from developing country like South Africa, I can call South Africa as a developing country, and Nepal and rest of the world coming here, but I think the role has to also be played by people in the developed world, because I think in this day and age, in next 50 years, we're not going to live in a world that was powered by industrial revolution. I think things like sustainability, equality, and inclusion are going to be very, very important, because it's not the matter of just making financial returns, but our existence is at threat. And it's our responsibility together, people from Finland, people from Europe, people from all over the world, to come together and create a world where our children and the children of our children can live happily. I think we're at the cusp of humanity, where if we do not do anything into every capacity that we have, not for ourselves, but the generation that has to follow. So I think that's very important. That's something
Yes.
that we need to do.
I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, so I think I can't disagree with such a powerful statement. It really is. We are at the cusp of humanity, and it really is up to us. And it's our responsibility to do good business and smart business. And I think at Slush we bring together investors, visionaries, people that are crazy entrepreneurs, people more systematic, and it's a good blend of different personalities and skill sets and capabilities. And hopefully out of this a lot of synergies are created. I don't know how often how many, but I'm sure there are quite a bit. For myself there has been a few, so I can only speak for myself and what I'm going to take back home. And also learning from other startups and saying, well, shit, what you're doing is really good. Like, can we work together? Like, can I bring this back to Africa? We need it.
What are like the biggest differences in startup scene here in Finland and where you come from?
It's a vast difference.
Yeah, would you like to go?
So, one, in Africa, there's very limited access to proper venture capital funding or even venture capital advice. So understanding the venture capital, also its own wolf pack with its own mysteries, it's a whole different animal. And also we don't have the access to so much incubation and support as you do here. So you have your typical programs from the World Bank, etc. But then again, those accelerators aren't fast enough because it's a quickly changing world and you need to remain relevant. Otherwise you dilute the impact of what you're having in the market as well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot more eccentric here, which is fantastic.
Exactly.
I'm jealous and I'd love a Finnish passport.
No, exactly. I mean, in our developing world, we have more of a rent-seeking behavior in terms of investment. They're into a short-term thing. But what I saw at Finland and Helsinki overall is that I think the education system that you have leads to this innovation, and what I learned was it's all community-driven. Slush is a community-driven event where everyone helps each other, supports each other, and I think we're the cradle of innovation for humanity right now.
Yeah.
And making things happen, trying to make a world a better place to live in.
Yeah. Well, we are running out of time, so thank you for the interview, you both. And now we're going to see what's happening in the central stage. And later today we will have the science pitching winner here at the studio.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much. Thanks, man.